Throughout the history of aviation, certain pilots have distinguished themselves through extraordinary skill, courage, and groundbreaking achievements. These aviators pushed the boundaries of flight and left an indelible mark on aerospace history. Here are 10 legendary pilots who helped shape the world of aviation. Chuck Yeager. Brigadier General Charles Chuck Yeager is arguably the most famous test pilot in history. His most notable achievement came on October 14, 1947, when he became the first person to fly faster than the speed of sound, breaking the sound barrier in the Bell X-1 rocket plane. This historic flight ushered in the era of supersonic aviation. Yeager was also a decorated World War II fighter pilot, shooting down 13 enemy aircraft. After the war, he continued pushing the limits as a test pilot, setting numerous speed and altitude records. Yeager's exceptional flying skills, calm demeanor under pressure, and willingness to take calculated risks made him a legend in aviation circles. Amelia Earhart. Amelia Earhart was a pioneering aviator who broke multiple records and inspired generations of pilots. In 1932, she became the first woman, and only the second person after Charles Lindberg, to fly solo non-stop across the Atlantic Ocean. Earhart was also the first person to fly solo from Hawaii to the U.S. mainland. Her courage, determination, and advocacy for women in aviation made her an icon. Tragically, Earhart disappeared in 1937 while attempting to circumnavigate the globe, but her legacy as a trailblazer for women in flight endures. Charles Lindberg. Charles Lindberg achieved worldwide fame in 1927 when he completed the first solo non-stop transatlantic flight from New York to Paris in his custom-built plane, the Spirit of St. Louis. This 33.5-hour flight across the Atlantic Ocean captured the world's imagination and ushered in a new era of long-distance aviation. Lindbergh's feat earned him the prestigious Congressional Medal of Honor and cemented his place in aviation history. He went on to promote the development of commercial aviation and contributed to aerospace technology throughout his career. 4. Neil Armstrong. While best known as the first person to walk on the moon, Neil Armstrong was also an accomplished aviator and test pilot. Before joining NASA, Armstrong flew 78 combat missions as a naval aviator during the Korean War. As a test pilot, he flew the X-15 rocket plane to the edge of space, reaching altitudes over 200,000 feet and speeds approaching 4,000 miles per hour. Armstrong's exceptional piloting skills and cool composure under pressure made him the ideal choice to command the historic Apollo 11 lunar landing mission in 1969. 5. Bessie Coleman. Bessie Coleman broke racial and gender barriers to become the first African-American woman and first Native American to hold a pilot's license. Denied flight training in the U.S. due to her race and gender, Coleman traveled to France in 1920 to earn her license. Upon returning to America, she became a skilled stunt pilot and popular airshow performer, earning the nickname Queen Bess. Coleman used her fame to advocate for equality and inspire other African Americans to pursue careers in aviation. 6. Chuck Yeager. As the first pilot to break the sound barrier, Chuck Yeager rightfully appears twice on this list. His achievements as a test pilot, combat ace, and aviation pioneer are unparalleled. Yeager's extraordinary career spanned from World War II through the early space age, during which he continually pushed the limits of aircraft performance and human endurance. 7. Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes was an aviation pioneer, film producer, and business tycoon who made significant contributions to aerospace technology. As a pilot, he set multiple world airspeed records in the 1930s. In 1938, Hughes completed a record-breaking round-the-world flight in just 91 hours. Hughes also designed and built innovative aircraft, including the massive H-4 Hercules flying boat, nicknamed the Spruce Goose. While eccentric and reclusive in his later years, Hughes's impact on aviation was substantial. 8. James Jimmy Doolittle. Jimmy Doolittle was a pioneering aviator, aeronautical engineer, and military leader. He made history in 1922 as the first pilot to fly coast-to-coast across the United States in under 24 hours. Doolittle was also instrumental in developing instrument flying techniques that revolutionized all-weather aviation. During World War II, he led the famous Doolittle raid on Tokyo in 1942, boosting American morale in the early days of the war. Doolittle's combination of flying skill, technical expertise, and leadership made him one of the most influential aviators of his era. 9. Jacqueline Cochran. Jacqueline Cochran held more speed, distance, and altitude records than any other pilot in aviation history, male or female. She was the first woman to break the sound barrier and the first pilot to fly supersonic on a straight course. During World War II, Cochran directed the Women Air Force Service Pilots, or WASP, program, training female pilots to fly military aircraft. Her numerous achievements and advocacy for women in aviation paved the way for future generations of female pilots. 10. Bob Hoover. Dubbed the pilot's pilot by his peers, Bob Hoover was renowned for his exceptional flying skills and aerobatic prowess. After escaping a German POW camp during World War II, Hoover became a test pilot and later thrilled airshow crowds with his precision aerobatic routines. Hoover was famous for performing difficult maneuvers in both propeller and jet aircraft, often while pouring iced tea from a pitcher to demonstrate his smooth control. His mastery of energy management and aircraft control made him a legend among aviators. These 10 remarkable pilots represent just a fraction of the many aviators who have contributed to the advancement of flight. Their courage, skill, and pioneering spirit continue to inspire pilots and aviation enthusiasts around the world.